My guests today are Dr. Elizabeth Murray. She will be on to talk about the current status of COVID-19 and some of the myths and some of the truths and some tips what we should be doing on a day-to-day basis. And we'll be talking to Brady and Melissa from Blackbird Design about what they're doing to help local businesses here in Rochester make a little cash and how you can support besides buying food and gift cards and stuff like that.
I'm gonna talk my talk, gonna spend my money till the money's gone. 'Cause there ain't nobody here I answer to. Yeah, I'm gonna walk the walk, I'm gonna talk my talk, gonna spend my days back where I'm from. A place where all that love comes back to you. Yeah.
So, Dr. Elizabeth Murray, how's it going?
Nothing's going on. I don't. What are you
Tons
asking
of free
about?
time.
Why?
Did you paint that painting behind you? Because, I mean, tons of free time.
With all my free time. Yes, yes, I did. Actually, it's important to mention that right now things are actually going okay. In our community here, people have really heeded the call to reach out to your primary care physician first, or call one of the hotlines if you have questions about COVID-19. So, actually, currently, right now, as of today, our volumes in our local pediatric emergency departments, at least, and the adult EDs are relatively low. People are really taking advantage of telemedicine and some of the other services out there to make sure that our EDs are really prepared and ready to go.
It's funny you bring up the technology like that because I often wonder over the last few days, what does this pandemic look like 25 years ago before we were even doing what we're doing right now, which is video chatting for the people who are only listening and all the technology we have. Thank God. But what does this look like 25 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of comparisons to the big Spanish flu epidemic of 1918, where they had even less technology then. But we know from that data that the cities that were very serious about really locking it down and making people stay home did better. And so that's why we're really asking everybody to respect this concept of social isolation and really flattening the curve. As the surge starts to hit, we really, really need to make sure that we can limit it as much as possible so that we can care for everybody who needs care. Remember, not only are people going to be sick from COVID-19, but all the other stuff that people already get sick from, heart attacks, new diagnoses of cancers, all of these things are going to continue to happen too. So we need to make sure there's space for everybody to get the care they need.
Well, I own a plumbing company, and I have this big purple van I drive around, and I was leaving today, and I did have something to do plumbing-wise before this, and I was at a light, and a Monroe County Sheriff pulled up next to me, and he kind of signaled to roll down the window. He goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" I go, "I'm heading to a clog," which I was. He goes, "Okay, I just want to make sure you're out for something that you should be out for," which, sanitary purposes. I've as the owner of the plumbing company, I'm only taking clogs, water heaters, emergencies, and stuff like that. And he kind of like questioned me for a half a second. He's like, "How you doing? Make sure you wash your hands after you're done, sanitize." So they're not cracking down, the police, but they are starting to ask, "Hey, what are you doing out? Why are you out
Yeah.
and about? It shouldn't be for no reason."
That's interesting. That's interesting. And I would agree that, yeah, plumbers are essential services. We need to make sure everybody's toilets and sinks are working just
Yeah,
fine
if people
right
want
now.
to upgrade their faucet or something for no reason, I'll tell them to wait. But
No.
if they can't flush their toilet, I'm
Yeah.
there. You know what I mean? So, so the best practice is to stay home. If people do have to go
Mhm.
out, there's so much speculation with certain masks. They don't help. They don't do anything. They do certain things. You have to be fitted for them to work properly. You have to use a specific mask. What practices are worth the time if you are going to leave the house?
So quick, first of all, be efficient about it. Know what you need to do. If it's a grocery shopping situation, then, really be efficient about what you're doing. One of our local grocery stores has an app that lets you put your groceries right in your own grocery bags as you go, and then just use the app to check out. So it really streamlines the process, decreases your contact with other humans. I think that's a great thing to use. If for some reason you're finding yourself needing to get takeout, again, make sure that restaurant is following the rules of nobody's hanging out in the restaurant. You go in, you get your food, or they bring it right out to you. It's not a time to kind of be wandering about thinking about what you need to do. You have to do it with a purpose. And then hands down, hand washing is going to be the most important thing. For the average citizen, if they are not compromised in some way, the average citizen doesn't really need to be wearing any mask. We need to save those masks for the frontline people who are going to be closely interacting with patients who do have COVID-19. So as long as we're keeping our 6 feet or greater between people, minimizing our public contact and minimizing the content with a lot of different people. If we're home in our house, we're seeing our same family day in and day out. If you have a family member that's an essential employee, maybe they're going to the workplace and they're coming back, but again, they're not going and seeing many, many, many different people, and therefore potentially sharing their germs. They're interacting with the same people throughout the day. But again, hands on hand washing, and more hand washing, whether you're using a hand gel or soap and water. Make sure you're getting those good, really 20 seconds in all surfaces of your hands. I mean, it's kind of silly, some of the videos that are out there, but it's actually worth a look, because I think a lot of people are surprised about, you got to clean around your thumbs and in between your fingers, and you got to do it right.
Yeah, that's, I listened to another podcast where Dr. Oz was on, and he kind of spent 20, 30 seconds explaining how to wash your hands. He said you have to wash your hands like a surgeon, which, like you're going into the operating room, which is not just palm, maybe up to your first knuckle. You have to kind of use one hand to scrub, one hand to wash the other, really. I know that's an expression, but for your fingertips, because that's what touches these surfaces. And yeah,
definitely. I mean, you got to take it very seriously. And 20 seconds is a really, really long time. If we just sat here quietly for 20 seconds, everybody would think that the feed was broken, right? I mean, it's a really long time. And so I think everybody's probably starting to realize, I thought I was a good hand washer before, but maybe I wasn't as diligent as I thought.
I know you're short on time in general, but I want to do that. Can we sit here? I'm going to set a timer for 20 seconds just to really put into perspective how long it should take to wash your hands. We'll start that in 3, 2, 1. There's 20. That's how long it should take to wash your hands. And that was an eternity. I was sweating.
It's a long time. Yeah, at least you didn't sing Baby Shark, that's good.
No. Okay, so there's tons of speculation of this can go 9 months, 10 months, a year. This can be done by Easter, one person says. What's the consensus in the medical community? Are you even making these predictions, or are you just worried about day by day doing the right thing to make progress?
Well, we have to look at the long run, of course. I mean, right now, even in the United States, it's certainly very region dependent. Our colleagues down in New York City are really starting to be in the mix of it, versus up here right now, we're just in the preparation phase. So, the concept of being done by Easter, I do not think is realistic, and I do not think that's a safe thing at all. Even once the curve starts to go down, there will still need to be periods of isolation after that to make sure we don't get a second surge. So, we have many weeks to go. And then beyond that, I think it's hard to know, because again, this is a new germ. We don't know yet if there'll be a seasonal component, like the flu kind of gets better certain times of the year and gets worse other times of the year. We don't know if it's going to change at all as it goes around the world. So there's a lot still that we just don't know, but I think that we are in this for many, many, many weeks to come.
Maybe this is a silly question, but can your diet affect, because people are sitting home, they're trying to support local businesses and eat takeout and stuff like that, and maybe they're munching on more bags of chips than usual, when life is normal. But can your diet affect the chances of maybe your immune system going down? I don't know anything obviously about any of this, but should you not just throw it all away and eat whatever you want right now, or should you be eating a little healthier? What habits should we be practicing besides washing hands and staying home?
Yeah, so you'll see a lot of posts on social media about boost your immune system and things along those lines. And in reality, there's not a lot you can do to truly boost it. I would be very leery about some of those claims that we're starting to see on social media. And luckily, some of those false claims are being locked down a little bit by the different platforms. But overall, now is really a good time to make sure you're doing all of the good things we all should always be doing, taking good care of yourself. If you get a real good sense of comfort and gratification from eating some French fries here and there, then that's totally fine, because our spiritual health, our mental health, all of that's really important too. But I think we do need to make sure that we're getting out, we're exercising, we're getting some fresh air. Those things are all okay to do. Again, as long as you're not in a big group of people. Kids can still go out and play in the yard. All of those things can still be happening. Just again, not in big groups, not climbing on public playground equipment, not being really close to other people, even when we're outside. We need those things for our normal health, and the best we can do to keep our bodies in our normal state of health, then that would be great. But I'm a doctor, so I'm going to say eat your fruits and vegetables. But if you need to throw in some cheat food in there, that's okay. I made a batch of cookie dough without an egg. I used soy milk instead, so we could eat the raw cookie dough, and that was okay. We need to have some treats.
Wow,
too.
that sounds amazing. What habits would you like to see? Let's just talk. I know we could talk about Americans as a whole, but let's talk about what habits would you like to see Rochesterians take from this and continue forever? Because everybody is washing their hands and sanitizing and being very careful for obvious reasons now. And maybe that was the problem before. What habits would you like to see Rochesterians take from this and continue after this is all said and done?
There, I just did one right there. Cover your cough all the time. That's really important. I think that, awareness of getting your flu shot, not because it necessarily has anything to do with COVID-19, but anything we could do to decrease the rates of other severe illnesses in the community is going to be really important. I think it's going to be really interesting to see moving forward what happens with the concept of telemedicine. That was already starting to kind of come online, but now it's everywhere. And I think that's going to really help a lot of people who have transportation issues or for a variety of things. And so I think that's going to really broaden moving forward. I think also just this kind of appreciation of we're all in this together. We all have to take care of each other. Excuse me. This isn't just about me and my family or my colleagues at work. This is about making sure our whole community can get through this. And so I hope that spirit of togetherness continues with us moving forward.
I think it was Howie Mandel. He said on some interview somewhere that he kind of was like basically the "I told you so" guy. Like he said, you don't have to shake hands when you address each other. We don't have to kiss and hug each other. Every time we see a family member or a friend. He said, do you think that that should be pulled back a little bit? Should we do away with shaking hands and doing stuff like that because of stuff like this? At least during this season.
Right now, we definitely need to, but we'll see moving forward. Now, of course, you can hug your kids, and they need to still see all that love from us. But moving forward, I think some of those things might change. It'll probably go back for a lot of people, doing the handshake and the traditions of that. Excuse me, but it's exactly right. It's the togetherness that's really important, not necessarily the formalities of the different types of greetings.
You might have mentioned it before, but if people are feeling or like they have symptoms or coming down with anything that is along the lines of feeling sick, they should make the phone call to their physician before going anywhere, right?
Definitely. Do not seek care. I mean, if you're so sick or a loved one is so sick you need to call 911, then you still call 911. But if you just have a little bit of a cough, you're wondering what's going on, you need to reach out to your healthcare provider or any of the local hotlines first. Do not just show up at a healthcare facility thinking you're going to get tested. Most people who have this are going to be able to stay home and be just fine at home.
And what's going to happen when we get some kind of, what do they call it, an antidote or a cure? What's the proper word for what they're trying to come up with right now for COVID-19?
Well, they're hoping to eventually be able to come up with a vaccine, yeah. But again, that's potentially years in the making. So we have a long way to go before we can count on anything to fix this. There's been talks of certain medications that might be helpful, but the medical community has really tried to stress that data has not been proven. That data is very, very, very small and was not a cure. It just kind of changed the course of the illness a little bit. So we do not have a quick fix for this right now, and one is not anticipated anytime in the near future.
You shared a lot of incredible information. Is there anything else you want to let people know who watch or listen to this show?
We've noticed that there's been a couple things I think we all need to be aware of as far as like the unintended side effects. So one thing is the poison centers are telling us that they're already getting a lot of increased phone calls for kids who've accidentally ingested hand gel or cleaning products. So we need to be really aware that we've got these things out a lot more than normal, and kids are being cared for in places they're not used to being cared for. So we got to make sure we're doing all that normal safety for kid stuff. We also are starting to see in other parts of the country that unfortunately child abuse and domestic violence numbers are going up a great deal. So make sure we're checking in on everybody. You know, if you live in a neighborhood, can you have a phone tree? Can you have a something that you're reaching out to your neighbors that perhaps just the stress of being home so much is push that family to the boiling point. So just make sure that we're really looking out for each other, because right now we're anticipating abuse numbers and domestic violence numbers, unfortunately, to go up.
This is a great app that we're on right now that we're having a conversation on. It's called Zoom. You just search Zoom video chat. You can access it through a computer, a phone, tablet, and you could basically have a group. My girlfriend and her family, I think every other night at 6 o'clock, 6 or 8 of them all get into little windows. It looks like the Brady Bunch theme opening,
Yep.
and they all talk to each other. And one gets emotional, like my girlfriend's mom gets emotional because she can't see her grandkids or her kids. So, but it's a great tool. It's called Zoom. This is not an endorsement of any kind, or a paid endorsement, I should say. But yeah, that is important to check in with people. I'm glad you added that. And thank you so much for your time. I follow you on Twitter at Doc E. Murray, Doc, letter E,
Yep.
Murray. That's for the listening audience, and for the viewing audience, I'll put the Twitter handle right here. Is there anywhere else we could follow you and get, some of your wonderful insights and information on social media? I'm
on Instagram as well. Same address on
Okay.
Instagram.
And Twitter. Well, again, thank
And
you
Twitter.
so much,
Yeah.
Dr. Elizabeth Murray. I appreciate your time. I know that getting anybody in the medical field is extremely tough right now because you're nothing but busy. Stay healthy. And thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
And now we're going to talk about a way that we can help the community. Now, we learned in the last few minutes the latest about the coronavirus and COVID-19 and what's going on here in Rochester and the rest of the world. Now we're going to move over to what we could do to help the restaurants that are still shut down and the businesses that are still shut down with barely any income. And I'm going to be joined by Brady and Melissa from Blackbird Design. What's going on, guys?
What's happening?
Hi.
Thanks for giving me a few minutes. How are you guys, first of all? How are you guys personally?
We're good. We're just staying isolated, staying away from people like we're told to.
Right. And doing anything different? Are you noticing, are you learning stuff about yourself like some people are and some couples are?
I personally I'm gonna try to learn how to play the piano during this time. I think I'll fail miserably, but
I am doing nothing different.
Just flying through Netflix show. Have you Netflix just flying through Netflix shows? Have you guys seen Tiger King yet?
No, we were just talking about it last night.
yeah.
That is the show we all need right now. I mean, people are hyping it up, and it's justified because it is just insane 7-8 episode series that you got to check out to pass the time.
I've seen nothing but like just disbelief that this story is an actual real story.
So you guys own Blackbird Design. Where is that located?
We're down on 632 Hollenbeck Street, right in the center of the city.
And what do you guys do over there typically when there's not a pandemic going on?
Screen printing, large format printing, embroidery, and signage.
So basically, if you want anything printed on anything, you guys are the one-stop shop for it.
Yeah, that's actually our slogan. We want to be a one-stop shop. Help people bring their whole brands into one cohesive piece.
What's the biggest thing you ever printed? The biggest sign or banner?
We did some channel lit lettering over by the Home Depot out in Victor for Mitchell Design Build and Victor Self Storage. Both of those signs were like 5 feet tall by 50 feet long, and they were individual channel lit letters that all had to be put up with lifts, and that was a pretty big task. It was a lot of fun though.
And then you do everything down to the little. Well, I say little. I thought it was a big sign until you just told me that. The little sign I have outside the Rochester Podcast Network here on University, I have too.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll leave stickers, decals, as small as you want them.
Very cool. Very cool. And how long have you guys been in business?
5 years.
Yep.
And are you personally or business-wise being affected by COVID-19, or your employees, or like what's going on over there at Blackbird?
Yeah, we had to lay off our work staff. The majority of our clients are closed. That's why we started the Local Love movement, to keep our clients bring in some sort of revenue. Slowed down dramatically, but we're doing what we can, keeping ourselves busy, picking up piano.
Oh, I can't wait to hear Heart and Soul by Christmas.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Done.
Chopsticks, all the easy ones. Start with those. Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Star Wars isn't bad. So, yeah, you brought up the Local Love movement. I definitely want to talk about that. So what are you guys doing to help people help businesses in Rochester? Because I think that's basically what it is, right?
Yeah, so this whole campaign we started was to 100% help benefit the small businesses that have been affected by the shutdowns. As Melissa was saying, when that Wednesday where, the city was first alerted to this, that we'd have to be slowing down production and bringing our workforce down to, 50% at that time, we noticed a huge drop in our sales. Our emails stopped dead. We had a lot of cancellations for orders because they were canceling events. Our business relies heavily on, printing apparel for events. So after that all happened, we were kind of wondering what are we going to do next. And then we had talked to some local small business owners, and we saw the same effect happening in every small business, no matter if you're a restaurant or you're just a little boutique or you're a salon. It was affecting business across the board. So Melissa and I, we sat down one night and we were just chit-chatting about all the things that we could try to do to help. And, what we came up with is we're a print company. We print T-shirts. Why don't we print T-shirts for these businesses that have been affected? And the big thing is, not like this is nothing revolutionary or, revolutionary. Is that a word?
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah. Because people do this all the time. The thing that we're doing that's a little different is that 100% of the proceeds, every last penny that is not used as the cost to print the shirts and get the shirts to the people, every single cent will be going back to that small business. So that's a big thing that we're really proud of. We won't be taking any of the profits of any of these orders.
And when you say proceeds, I mean, you're not even including labor. Like, it's literally the cost of the shirt, the ink. You're not adding electricity or bills, because proceeds is a very general word.
Yeah.
No, we're taking, the only thing that we're deducting out of the $20 of the sale of the shirt is the price of the actual garment, credit card fees for transaction fees that are taken online, and the ink. We're doing it so that we don't make money, but it's not costing us money either, because again, we're shut down, we're affected by this. So we're doing what we can to help out without costing anybody money, but raising money for the businesses.
So it's as simple as that. So now, how many businesses are involved, roughly?
I think right now we have like 26 or 27.
Yeah, and we still have a few more companies to add to the site. It's just having the time to upload everything, getting the screens ready, and processing the orders. Getting
the correct artwork from the prospective businesses. That's a big thing. We're trying to knock everything down to one color print so we can make it cost effective for everybody. So that, we have a little delay in trying to get the appropriate artwork for printing.
So if you're watching this when it first came out, or listening to this the day it popped up on your podcast streaming, it's Thursday, March 26th. So when do we have until to order these shirts through these for these businesses?
The sale ends April 3rd. At the end of the day on April 3rd, we're going to process all the orders, take down the site. We won't be able to take any orders after the fact because we want to keep it organized. There's so many different businesses that unfortunately we can only do it till the 3rd. We may run it again. It just depends
on how long everything goes until, I'm sure.
Hopefully everyone is up and running shortly after the 3rd, and we don't have to do it again.
That's a much better option. And it's as simple as that. If you have a favorite business or restaurant or whatever that is on your site, which is
blackbirdroc.com.
And we can get the link to all those restaurants and businesses there, and each business gets their own link to share, correct?
Yes, yep. Absolutely.
And I recommend too, if people log onto the site and they don't recognize a business, click on them. There's little blurbs about the business. Find one that maybe appeals to you. If there's like a boutique that you've never heard of, but you're interested in it, it's women owned and operated, or whatever you feel enticed to support, to buy the garment, because these companies reached out and asked to be put on the site because they are affected by this right now.
So great. Okay, this is, you say it's not a revolutionary idea, but I think it is pretty perfect for our size community. You know what I mean? We're not in Manhattan where it's like, okay, there's going to be 10,000 options like this, but we're not in, in the middle of Iowa where there's only 25 people that live in a little town or whatever.
Right.
But Rochester, I mean, there's almost 30 businesses to choose from. $20, you get a shirt, which is pretty cool, with the business on it, and to be a part of helping everything. What are the sayings that are on the shirt besides the logos?
So there's a couple different sayings. One is takeout and gift cards and stayed in and supported local. And the other one we have is stayed in and supported local. There's like a few slight variances between that on a couple other businesses, but we're trying to keep it pretty cohesive across the board. So those are the two main ones.
How have these businesses responded? I know some asked to be a part of this. You probably reached out to get it rolling. How have these owners and operators responded to this idea?
Well, the people that I reached out to, or that reached out specifically to me, they've all been on board. There's and very thankful for the entire opportunity. And the big thing with us is we can't promise any major sales or anything major coming of this, but we're at least giving people the platform and the opportunity to do it. And I think that most people are beyond excited to even have that opportunity.
Yeah, some people are, absolutely thrilled. Some people are brought to tears by it. I mean, there's some companies on there that have had to close their doors and remain closed for the time being because they can't afford to stay open. So even just giving the small business owners a little shred of hope during this is like, it's giving us a lot of joy. It's giving them a lot of joy, and it makes everybody feel like we're in it together, which is something really awesome. And I'm glad that we're able to do this.
It is a great idea. I mean, I could repeat that all day because it really is. There is a Rochester Podcast Network shirt up, and I've decided because, I just started producing other shows for a profit and stuff, and people prepaid, and I'm doing okay, is what I'm saying. But if you want to represent the podcast network, you can get a Rochester Podcast Network shirt, and any of the proceeds I make from this whole thing, I'm going to go and buy restaurant gift cards or gift cards from some of the other businesses on the Blackbird site, and we're going to give them away throughout the next couple months for prizes or social media contest or whatever it may be, randomly, kind of like a radio station does. But if I make $20 or I make $200, it's all going to gift cards to small businesses to then give away as prizes.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Some of the businesses that are on the site are giving their proceeds to their displaced employees. There's a salon on there that's using her proceeds to go towards the people who rent chairs in her salon, go towards their rent payments. So like in YouTube, giving it back to the community, it's like a crazy rippling effect that's happening. That's really awesome.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this turns out. There's still time, again, until April 3rd, April 2nd, to get your order in. Check back with the Blackbird social media pages. I'm sure you guys are going to post, hey, 3 days left, 2 days left, 1 day left type thing, all while the businesses promote their own links so they could sell shirts and everything can, like you said, Melissa, the ripple effect can get bigger and bigger, and we could pop out of this without being too far behind or in the negative. So thanks a lot, guys. I mean,
one other thing I just want to say real quick,
sure.
It's not too late to submit your business also. If somebody does is hearing this and they didn't know about this, feel free to reach out to us directly. We're still adding businesses as it goes on. You have a little bit of less time to sell the shirts, but I mean, at least you can get on there and be a part of it.
If you want to expedite this process, well, first of all, what's the cutoff for a business to be added, and what do you need from them right up front to get, like you said, you have to get logos and you have to get certain things from them, blurbs about their business and stuff. What's like the short checklist if a business is watching or listening to this right now and they just want to email you everything so you have it and you say, hey, okay, we're ready to go. What are the things that they can have ready for that first email?
Log onto the website, submit your logo file, who you are, if you have a brick and mortar location, how COVID-19 has affected you. We're trying to keep it to businesses who are actually shut down or they had to alter their services and how they're delivering them. And then we'll give a phone call right back, and then it takes about 24 hours to be uploaded to the site. There's no cutoff date to be a part of this, but the sooner you get your information up, the sooner you can start raising some money.
Wonderful. Brady, Melissa, Blackbird Design. It's blackbirddesignrock.com, you said?
Blackbird Rock. It's
excuse me.
or blackbirdroc.com for the website.
So think of the Beatles song, blackbirdroc.com.
Yes.
Get in there, support local businesses, buy a couple shirts. They're good looking shirts too. They're very, very Rochester shirts, and we always love representing Rochester. Hopefully we can wear them for Memorial Day, 4th of July, Park Ave Fest, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you for doing this, first of all, and thank you for giving me a couple minutes, and I hope we get the word out and get some shirts sold, and again, that ripple effect, turning that into a tsunami and get everybody bounced back pretty quickly. Thank you so much, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It's been too long since I spoke clear and strong. Just something about this concrete gets me down. Hey.